There we go. Now we're on air.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming tonight. I will call this meeting of June 11th to order, this regular city council meeting. And before we begin, we have one person here for our open forum. I will invite Ruane Onsirosen to the podium, please. And if you could sign your name in. And at the open forum, we ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes. Thank you.
55th Street, Ruane Onesirosa. On November 26, 2018, the Richfield Planning Commission recessed a public meeting asking me and my neighbors to leave commission chambers while commissioners turned off their microphones and held discussions not open to the public. Also, presenters of an application before the commission, Broadway investors, were permitted to leave the chambers in order to have a private discussion. I was also refused access to this meeting. This meeting concerned drastic amendments to their proposals as submitted. Commissioners and proposers alike were provided time for private conversations in what was supposed to be a public meeting. After 10 minutes, we were all allowed back into the chambers, at which time I and my neighbors were not invited to discuss or contribute to the significant changes which they presented to the commission, and which proposal was subsequently approved and sent to council with a recommendation to approve it. None of these actions were taken in accordance with the Planning Commission's bylaws, which were approved at their February 2019 meeting, and probably, I'm assuming, at the February meeting of 2018. The commission bylaws respect the open meeting laws as dictated by state statute for both the City Council and for Richfield's Commission as set out in Sturgis Guide to Parliamentary Procedures. At no time did commissioners make a move, nor did they vote to suspend or to amend their bylaws. What was transparent to me is that the commission and the Broadway investors were avoiding transparency. My 90-year-old neighbors were shuttled about like kindergartners, with little attention paid to our voices disapproving Broadway investors' proposals. Laws were not respected. Therefore, all actions taken by the council and by the Planning Commission with respect to Broadway investors' application to the City's Council and Planning Commission are null and void. Bylaws, like the United States Constitution, must be respected to ensure transparency in government and to afford public access to the decision-making process. The United States Constitution upholds my right to be free of undue search and seizure, to own property, and to pursue life, liberty, and happiness. It is the Council's responsibility to uphold our laws and support our Constitution. Is our 3 minutes up yet?
30 seconds left.
Well, this little letter I also sent out. It didn't get put in the papers, but I asked them to put it in the papers. Now, where did I put my specs? Oh, I better not forget my dentures. I like my house of 50 years. It affords me respect, comfort, security. I could manage the expenses and the chores in my own place and in my own space. My kids help. They love the old place. It holds their childhood memories, and they like to visit here. They know I can find my own way around and feel secure in my weaker self, for I know I have birds, sunshine, and my easy chair. I don't want to move. I have no place to move. I cannot afford to move. Survival becomes a full-time job at the age of 90. Vultures circle me now. They want to profit. They want to force me out. Will they never grow old? Have they no parents? Have they no grandparents?
Thank you so much. And I just, this isn't a period for council discussion, but I just want to let you know that I am more than happy to meet with you directly, as is our city staff, to talk about the legality and process of our planning commission. So I look forward to connecting with you. Thank you for coming. If everyone can now please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and The next item is the approval of the minutes of the Special Concurrent City Council and Housing and Redevelopment Authority work session of May 20th, 2019, the Special City Council work session of May 28th, 2019, and the regular City Council meeting of May 28th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The minutes have been approved. Our first presentation will go to Councilmember Whalen.
And thank you, Mayor. I will pretty quickly pass it off. We're happy to have here today our Hennepin County Commissioner, Debbie Gattell, and so I will hand it off to her. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. It's like coming home here. Feels very warm and welcoming. Mayor Gonzalez, council members Supple, Troutman, Garcia, and Whalen, it's a pleasure to be into your chambers again and to talk to you. Thank you. I appreciate all the staff here too in the city. And I see there's a lot of other better festivities going on than a report from the county commissioner, so I'll try to be brief so the families can get on with this. But I wanted to stop in and say hello, and I also wanted to talk about what's going on. I also wanted to let you know how much I'm appreciating working with the staff. The availability to meet with your city staff and talk about priorities and the guidance that the county is doing together is so worthwhile. We regularly meet, and I meet with county staff, and I regularly get calls from most of you when you have needs, and so I really appreciate that. We're able to do a lot together because of the great communication. There's some highlights I wanted to talk about. The Facade Improvement Grant. The county awarded a $50,000 grant to the city of Richfield for building facade improvements in Penn Avenue in the central business district there, continuing to rejuvenate and strengthen that local economy in Penn Avenue. Youth sports grants, those are a big deal. The Hennepin County Youth Sports Grants award capital grants to build, repair, renovate, or expand youth sports facilities. Richfield Public Schools received $75,000 for a playground at Richfield Dual Language last year. Make a Splash Initiatives offers free or low-cost swim lessons through Hennepin County. And these funds go unspent many times. So please, I ask you to keep thinking about those as you're looking at park and rec and sports facility upgrades. Come to the county, make sure that you get your fair share and you can do some great things in your city. The county also has a project of 66th Street, which everybody knows about, and I think we're very much ready for that to be done. And this year is the final year. They're going around doing a lot of the paving, the boulevards, and a lot of weeding, I see. So I'm really glad to see some of that coming to the finality. I know there's a possibility to have some big open house at the end of the construction period, so I'm looking forward to that. 77th Street underpass, we still continue to work on that. We didn't get the dollars through the bonding, but we will keep going at this together. We are partnering so that we can get this 77th Street underpass done. It's gone through 3 mayors so far. I think you might have the last charm, Mayor Gonzalez. Housing initiatives. Housing is a big deal, I think, for all of our communities. Not only trying to produce affordable housing, but also trying to preserve the housing we have. I have a brochure here that I brought with me about Hennepin County and the housing, and I'll be dropping this off for you. But, you know, we invest substantial dollars, even at the county level, just to produce affordable housing. And a lot of it goes to special projects and things like this and goes into your community as well as developers come to us to ask for dollars. We have a NOAA fund that helps in naturally occurring affordable housing stay. But we invest to the tune of $184 million a year in affordable housing. And yet we still have a very large gap. We know that's the existence of that. So we will continue to work on that. I think one of the things that we're also looking at is some of the resilience studies, county's approach to assessing and building with the climate change. That is one of the bars that I just recently passed. So we will be trying to look together and look at ways that we can partner with you to help your community be more resilient as we look at the issues around water infiltration especially, but also severe weather that can also impact you. We're all yet a disaster away from something very tragic happening in our community, and I think we're all too worried about that as we look around the nation and see some of the disasters that have already struck. There's also a lot of conversation that we've had about cost participation, like in 66th Street when we do these large projects. What is the city's share? What will the county pay for? What can't the county pay for? And that's not always been as transparent as it could be. And to that point, the county has brought forth a new draft on the cost-sharing formula and the policy. That draft is sitting on my desk right now as I'm reviewing it. It will go back to staff one more time, and then it will come out actually to the cities. We want you to review it, we want you to read it, and we definitely want you to comment on it and talk about how we could be more transparent. So I wanted to let you know that we really did hear you. Some of the other information that Casey's going to drop off over here at the end for you that you can pick up at the end of the night is the budget, our 2019 budget. We are, of course, budgeting for the next year, as you are. We have bike maps, and we'll be having new bike maps. I'll drop more off when they come. We have this wonderful bookmarker that has all the budget numbers on the back, too, for folks. We have the development programs. This is a spreadsheet that I have promised city staff for a little while and told them I was developing out of our office. This is all the grants that come out of Hennepin County. This is the cheat sheet that we will send, and we will update on a regular basis, send to your staff, but you can have the hard copy of it as well. And so we wanted to do that. Then one of the other things is District 5 specific, is this brochure about the budget and what goes where, what the projects are in District 5, which encompasses Richfield, Bloomington, and Eden Prairie. We have all the projects and different things we're doing here, but what I'm most proud of to talk to about you, about your city, is your voter turnout in the midterms, which was a record high. So you deserve so many accolades for all the outreach and some of the work you do to make it easy for people to vote. And that matters to all of us, because we build a better community, a better governance when we have people who participate with us. So I want to say thank you for all the great communication. Thank you for everything you do. Please don't hesitate to keep calling my office and send me messages or talk to my staff. Casey is right here taking all the pictures. We'll be featuring this meeting in the newsletter. If you don't get the newsletter, you just go to the website and sign up for it, and you'll be a regular participant in the newsletter. But thank you. Do you have any questions or anything for me?
Questions from
Questions or
council members? Comments?
I just want to say a couple of thank yous. I really appreciate all you do for our city, but specifically the facade improvement grant for the Penn Avenue corridor has made a difference. If you look at the corner of 66th and Penn, we have 4 new developments on all 4 corners of that street. I think at least 2, if not 3 of them, were able to utilize some of those funds. So I want to thank you for that. And something that I just learned this morning is that we received a grant for a planning grant for the redevelopment for the Penn Avenue. And so I know you were supportive of that and helped us with that. So I just want to thank you for that. That's a road that's a county road, but it's a priority for the city. And I know we talk about it every time we talk, and I know you talk to folks at the county about that road every chance you get. So I want to thank you for that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Please.
And I wanted to thank you too, not only for what you've done for the city, for the municipality, but also what you've done for the schools, because you've been instrumental in providing a printer and providing equipment, and the list goes on and on. But we're also very proud that we have our very own, and I use that apostrophe of our very own Debbie Gotel, and because you know this community, you are a regular participant in the life of this community, and I think that you're a great representative in Eden Prairie and Bloomington, but I know that this is your favorite community. and I know you're biased, and we like that, and we appreciate that. And, we need, I think for a long, long time, we've never had the representation that we have now at the county, as a county commissioner. So believe me, we appreciate that you're very much into keeping the door open, not only for the council and city staff, but also for whatever resident wants to communicate with you, wants to drop by to visit with you, or just wants to make sure that you want to make sure that you maintain contact with the public, and we appreciate that. And I think that's a hallmark that we all strive for, is good communication. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember
And thank you
Garcia.
for bringing Casey. Hi, Casey.
My photographer, yeah.
Well, Casey was a very nice young man.
Councilmember Supple?
One thing I wanted to bring up, I know that we're looking at moving the location of the Southdale Library, and was able to go to one of the county open houses, and I just wanted to say thank you, because I know we've been peppering you with lots of questions, and I know there's been a lot of advocacy to make sure that there's a safe route for kids to get there for pedestrians and bicyclists. And as we move forward on this project, I just appreciate all that you've been doing to make sure that the citizens' voices are heard. So thank you.
Well, I'm in constant conversation with your mayor, Maria Reagan Gonzalez, about the interaction between Edina and Richfield as this moves forward, and she's providing some great leadership, and I know you're meeting with them, but I haven't hesitated to pick up the phone and let them know that I'm watching this project as well, and it really matters that we have a project that's safe for children and schools and kids and families, and that it serves all communities very well in a safe manner, and that's something we'll strive for. There's a lot of conversation around that very issue today in our meeting. So thank you for bringing that up. Southdale Library is a real important regional asset for all of us.
And I would like to just reiterate, Councilmember Garcia must have been looking at my notes and wanted to steal everything I was saying. So thank you for that. But I wanted to reiterate, it's for residents, it is such an asset to have our former mayor and long-term Richfield resident, existing resident, our commissioner now supporting us and being an advocate. As Councilmember Garcia said, Commissioner Gotel knows the ins and outs of this community, what the needs are, how to connect with us. The communication with our staff and our electeds has been very regular, consistent. It's much appreciated, and I do appreciate the efforts, giving that cheat sheet of all the funding opportunities that are possible, connecting with residents, and just reminding residents to please reach out to the commissioner. Any question that you have, even if it's not in their wheelhouse, the commissioner will help you get connected to the right person. So I just wanted to reiterate that and say thank you for that great transparency, that communication and partnership.
And my office is always open, especially to entertain guests who want to come up just to say hi. And even if I'm in a meeting or not in the office, my staff will bring you into the office and have coffee with you and sit and visit until I'm free to be able to say hi to you. So I welcome anybody to come downtown and visit.
Thank you.
So.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And I think next we have a representative from Hennepin County Sheriff David Hutchinson's office. So thank you also for being here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Rob Allen, and I'm the Chief of Staff in the Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Hutchinson is the chair of the Major County Sheriffs of America's Technology Committee, and unfortunately that organization is meeting in Louisville tonight, so he couldn't be here and asked me to come in his stead. Like Commissioner Gotel, it's kind of nice to come home. I lived in Richfield for 21 years, and during that time I was serving as a Minneapolis police officer, and it was always wonderful to come home knowing the great police department that you have here and feeling safe in the community that I called home. So it's a pleasure to be home. The Sheriff's Office has a new mission statement, which I thought I'd share with you now, and that is serving and protecting all in our community by furthering equal justice, safety, and wellness. And I mention that because as I talk about a couple of initiatives that we're doing this year, I think you'll see how the mission statement kind of drives some of the things we're focusing on. So key areas we're looking at are wellness, and officer wellness is a huge challenge. The number of suicides by police officers nationwide it's a nationwide epidemic. It's up about 200% in the last 7 years. More officers die by their own hands than are killed by assailants. And the amount of stress and the impact that has on the family of police officers is frankly a national disgrace. And police leadership really needs to focus on that and find solutions, work with employees to make sure that they're getting the wellness resources that they need. So we are creating a wellness center for our staff, not just our sworn deputies, our jail staff, our dispatchers, and other civilian employees in the agencies. Once we have that infrastructure in place, one of the things we're going to do is offer that wellness assistance to some of the families being served by our community as well. One of the key initiatives that we're looking at is to make sure that we take great care of the people who come into our jail, but that we never see them back. And one of the ways that we do that is to assure that they have great family support at home. And we have an opportunity with visitors coming into the jail to make sure that they have the resources to provide a stable place for the inmate to go home to when they're released from our facility. So we're using those wellness resources to address that issue as well. The other thing, I think a lot of people are confused about what a sheriff's office does. And if anyone knows, you can see me afterwards and explain some of the things, because I'm still learning. I've only been there for a few months, and I come from a much more of a police background. But it's confusing, I think, to a lot of people that there are two law enforcement agencies. There's the county sheriff's office and the local police department. And we have some very specific statutory responsibilities. We have responsibility on any body of water. The sheriff's office has jurisdiction in the state of Minnesota. We're also responsible for enforcing the orders of the court. So we're like the marshal service at the federal level, but we do a lot of processing of civil process and serving warrants and that type of stuff. We're also very much a law enforcement agency and an investigative agency. We're your crime lab. So if you need forensic work in the city of Richfield, the Richfield Police Department, which does a great job, calls us, and we process a scene and have the forensic scientists who do all the cool stuff with microscopes and DNA and all those sorts of things. We also try to be a collaborative agency with all the law enforcement agencies in the county and become a force multiplier, if you will. So there are a lot of relatively small police agencies that can't do some of the big city issues that they face in their community. And so what we do is we create a bunch of task force and joint task force together where agencies will send representatives, and then we work collaboratively to address crime issues. And I'll describe some of the ones that we've been working on in Richfield as I talk about that. And then the big thing we do is we run the jail. Hennepin County Jail is the largest jail in Minnesota. A jail is pretrial. It's people who have not been convicted of a crime but are awaiting trial or awaiting a hearing on a case and stay in custody. As I mentioned, we're very concerned about the well-being of our inmates. We spend a tremendous amount of time making sure that people who need treatment get that treatment, whether it's for an opioid use disorder, mental health issues, or some other physical ailment. We have a tremendous medical staff, but people can't get well and not reoffend if they don't get treatment. So we spend a lot of time treating those folks, and we have a lot of initiatives underway to dramatically improve the treatment that those folks get. So I mentioned some of the things that the Sheriff's Office has been involved in, and I'll give you just a couple summaries. You've had an officer assigned to the Violent Offender Task Force in Minneapolis, in the Minneapolis area in Hennepin County for a long time, and has done some phenomenal work. And I'm going to highlight a couple of the recent cases. A February case, he got methamphetamine, marijuana, 2 adult males arrested, and recovered a .22 caliber rifle. In March, that same officer from Richfield took an on-call case where he received marijuana, methamphetamine, and a further search of the vehicle revealed a .38 caliber handgun, and the driver was arrested and charged for weapons and narcotics violations. In April, same officer took an on-call case from patrol officers. They found an unconscious male in a parked vehicle. He was armed with a .45 caliber pistol, a bulletproof vest, and 0.52 grams of cocaine. They did DNA search warrants, and that officer also did multiple search warrants. He was ultimately charged with multiple felonies to include committing a crime while in possession of a bulletproof vest. Also in April, that same officer took an on-call case from the Richfield patrol officers regarding a person with a gun. During the call, the suspects fled on foot but left a .22 caliber pistol at the scene. Both suspects were later located and arrested. 0.19 grams of cocaine and 13 grams of marijuana were also found. The task force officer executed search warrants for DNA on both parties, and the case is currently pending. In May, the Southwest Hennepin Drug Task Force investigated a narcotics dealer in Richfield selling THC vapor cartridges, as well as other drugs, and that person was arrested and charged. And then, just so you know, in July, we'll be assisting in the 4th of July festivities with task force officers to enhance the security, the fine job that the Richfield Police Department does on some of those things. We're also a crime sharing and analysis unit, and we hold bi-weekly meetings, so we share information about what's going on in South Minneapolis, Bloomington, Richfield, Eden Prairie, and because a lot of the crime travels between the jurisdictions, and Richfield's been a very dynamic part of that. In addition to the investigative things, we also assist in a number of different ways. In the city of Richfield, in the last year, we've done 22 warrants, pick up people who have warrants issued by the court for gross misdemeanor and felonies. We've done two DWI arrests while we're driving through on the way to other places, 15 traffic stops, 33 times we've been called in to assist Richfield on calls that they've had, a number of civil actions, again, serving the process, civil process from the court, and then 43 times our crime lab has been called out to assist at scenes in Richfield during the last year. So that's my summary. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from council members?
I just want to say that while we miss Sheriff Hutchinson this evening, I've probably seen him 20 times since he's been elected at different events in different places in the community, and it means so much that he's present. It means so much he's changed the tone in a lot of ways and increased communication, and we appreciate our officers, and we appreciate his care for our officers. So thank him on our behalf.
Thank you.
Other comments? I would like to just reiterate that as well. I have seen him many times. He's been very supportive of our community. Right after he was voted into office, he came to Richfield and spoke to 200 residents here at one of our local churches. So we have a great partner and a great asset in our sheriff. So thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Great. The next two items will go to Council Member Troutman.
Thank you, Mayor. These are fun items and a great privilege. The next item on the agenda is the presentation of the Jean and Mary Jacobson Citizen of the Year Award. Jean is an alumnus of the dais here, a former council member, and he and the Jacobson family were great advocates for human rights and for our city. And so we have the opportunity to recognize one of our citizens by awarding them the Jean and Mary Jacobson Citizen of the Year Award. And so the Richfield Human Rights Commission has selected a Citizen of the Year, and the recipient, and we've done this since 1971. The award was given to a family, group, or organization or business who lives or works in Richfield and whose actions demonstrate an awareness and commitment to the attitudes and practices that foster human understanding, tolerance, and the spirit of human relations. The Human Rights Commission has voted to present the 2019 Jean and Mary Jacobson Outstanding Citizen Award to Bryce Eichler-Smith. So let's give Bryce Eichler-Smith a hand. And in a minute, I understand Kim Jacobson is here and is going to give that award. But since I have the floor, there are some prepared remarks, but I'm just going to speak from the heart a little bit about our chaplain. So what people might not know about Pastor Bryce Eichler-Smith, about 15 years ago, he pioneered the city's chaplaincy program. He's a chaplain for both our firefighters and for our police officers. And what people don't know about, may not know about Bryce, is that he's been in this community for more than 30 years. When I was a high school freshman 25 years ago, Pastor Bryce Eichler-Smith was there just loving kids to pieces. And when kids were hurting, he was there loving them. And we know, and we heard from the sheriff's office how hard it is to be a police officer. And there are not a lot of people that go around looking at police officers and just say, you know what, I love you guys. But you know who does that? Bryce Eichler-Smith does that. He does that every single day. And he wakes up every morning and he thinks, how can I let people know in Richfield that they're loved? And it's tremendous. And it's a decades-long exercise in discipline for this man. And so it's a privilege to have you as a part of our community. It's a privilege to count you as a friend. And I want to say I love you back, and just want to bring you up and bring up Kim Jacobson. Do you want to say a word, Kim?
I do. I want to first of all back up to that corner of 60 we're talking about, Dunkin' Donuts. Not that anyone would eat that.
Yeah. Anybody? Dunkin' Donuts?
They don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
My mom and dad loved this community, Jean and Mary. They moved here after the war. They raised 3 kids who went to Richfield High School and graduated. And after decades of involvement in both the Human Rights Commission and the City Council, his legacy that we leave behind, this award, is a very big privilege every year to come. And I didn't greet you, Madam Mayor and Madam Edwina, as always, and the rest of you council members. I'd like to give this to Pat.
Chaplain, do you want to say a word?
No way, man. I love Richfield.
Chaplain, would you please come back to the podium, and with Kim and John B. Olstad will take a picture with you guys?
Okay. Thanks.
Maybe just in front of the podium so
Okay.
that they can see the award.
Oh, sorry, we want to go over here, Kim.
Oh, do we?
Yes. Can we shake your hand, Pastor? Thank you for your work. Hey, Kim. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
You know, Mayor, before we go on, I want to talk about Kim. Don't leave yet. Yeah, no. Kim Jacobson, you know, his mom and dad were just wonderful, wonderful people. And Jean served on the Richfield City Council for how many years, do you remember? Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing about Gene Jacobson. He was, you know, I think all of us are warm and friendly, but he was really special because he was, I mean, he felt like he had an investment in all the Richfield residents. He had a real connection. And the one thing that, you know, that he was really, that's why is the Jean and Mary Jacobson Award given by the Human Rights Commission. Because the Human Rights Commission is something that Jean Jacobson and Mary Jacobson believed in, worked towards, and really lived the life of love and respect and affording people all their rights with generosity, with all their hearts and open arms. And we honor your folks, and thank you so much, Kim, because you take the time every single year to come and help us salute, you know, our Richfield Citizen of the Year. And we are in your debt, and we appreciate you, and know that we still have great memories of your mom and dad. No, no. Thank you.
Thank you. That's good. Boy, this is a fun night. So next, our next item is the annual report from the Human Rights Commission, and our chair, Brett, is going to come up, and Brett Strusa, and just share a little bit about what the Human Rights Commission has been up to this year.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor and City Council members, City staff. I am Brett Strusa, Chair of the Human Rights Commission this year. Heather Eastland is Vice Chair, Secretary is Bob McCahey, and the Social Media Liaison is Katie Goodmote. For liaisons, Councilmember Troutman is our liaison, Deputy Chief Flaherty is our City Staff Liaison, and Tim Polis is our liaison from the school board. As a reminder, the purpose of the commission is to secure for all citizens equal opportunity in employment, housing, public accommodations, public services, and education, and full participation in the affairs of the community, and to take appropriate action consistent with the Minnesota Human Rights Act. The commission also advises City Council on long-range programs to improve human relations in the city, and that's all in the city code. In terms of our activities for 2018-2019, the Human Rights Commission hosted a naturalization ceremony in February with 201 people becoming U.S. citizens. We held that event over at Holy Angels. The Human Rights Commission also approved the Black History Month proclamation, which the council supported in January, and our commission recently approved a proclamation about the anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, which we hope the council will support as well. The Human Rights Commission has requested that the city of Richfield change signage to single-stall bathrooms in city buildings to be gender neutral and to encourage all in the city to do the same. This year, the Human Rights Commission participated in Penn Fest in September. We had over 100 people add their special trait to what we called the Human Rights Commission community chain. And we handed out material about the commission as well as how to apply for all city commissions. We also updated the Human Rights Commission, what had been a trifold brochure. We converted it to a postcard, which is in your report as well. We had it printed in both English and Spanish. And this year, the Human Rights Commission was awarded a $1,500 grant from the Richfield Foundation, and we are in discussion with city staff and community partners about hosting housing workshops to inform tenants and landlords about their rights and responsibilities. Significantly, the Human Rights Commission turned 50 years old this year. In partnership with the city and the Richfield History Center, we are researching the commission's history with an eye toward celebrating its half-century legacy. And in October, the Human Rights Commission partnered with Augsburg Library, which hosted Stories Together with Miss Richfield 1981. In general business, we welcomed 7 new commissioners this year. That's after welcoming 6 new commissioners last year. So it is definitely a lot of fresh faces with a lot to learn. And we are learning how to best work with the city and community partners. And I feel like we are working hard to figure out those partnerships so that we can work for the community in the space of human rights. Do you have any questions?
Questions from council members, comments?
I just wanted to say it's a privilege to have served on the Human Rights Commission, but I really appreciate your leadership, Brett, and the agenda that we have is really ambitious for the coming year, and the archives work that Bob McCauley, our secretary, is doing is I think it's gonna yield some really powerful insights for where our community has come from and where we're going, and what we've made progress on, what we still have a lot of progress to make on. But for Jean and Mary Jacobson, part of that story and the history of the housing rights and the racial equity issues that we were working on back then that were the cause and the instigation, and the churches that came together to push those forward, and faith communities, and did that. Put differences aside to focus on inclusion and equity. We still have that same work to do. So I want to thank you, and I want to thank the commission. It's a privilege to be a part of it.
Thank you.
Other comments or questions from council? Councilmember Supple.
I just wanted to say thank you for all your work and also for welcoming so many new members, because we've been striving to get more of the community involved, and so you guys are on the front lines of welcoming people in, so thank you.
Yes.
Other comments or questions? No? Thank you very much, and thanks
you.
for your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Britt.
The next item, I would like to invite Chief Henthorn up, and we will have the swearing in of the City of Richfield police officers, Christina Schultz Sanchez and Angie Figueroa.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, council members. I'd like to just say thank you to family, friends, community members, city officials, and police staff here tonight. It is my honor and pleasure to formally swear in two of our newest officers, Officer Christian Schultz Sanchez, if you'll come up, and Officer Angie Figueroa, if you'd also come up. First and foremost, when we hire police officers in the city of Richfield, one of the things I do as chief is to make sure that as part of our officer wellness program, that we make sure that they have a support system in place. When they come to work, they have their partners, they have other staff that they can talk to, but it's important that they have that support system. So I want to honor their families who are also here tonight. So if the families of these two officers would please stand up. And I think they deserve a great round of applause for supporting their officers. Thank you. These officers have completed their training process with the department. It includes a month-long academy along with a 14-week, very strenuous field training officer program. This is where we teach them to police the Richfield way. They have been with the department for a year. They've been off probation only a couple of weeks. These officers exemplify our mission statement, which is to safeguard the lives and the property of the people that we serve, to reduce the incidence and fear of crime, and to enhance the public safety while working with the community to improve their quality of life. And that's what we expect out of all our officers. So, without further ado, if you'd raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear to support the Constitution and the laws of the United States, the state of Minnesota, and the charter and ordinances of the city of Richfield, and to discharge faithfully the duties devolving upon me as a police officer for the city of Richfield to the best of my judgment and ability. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chief.
You know, can I interject here? I know I could. Wait a minute, officers. Could you come back over here and Maria, you go over there and stand with Jay? I'd like to kind of orchestrate picture taking. I'll take the liberty of speaking while the mayor is coming up. Es un placer. Me da mucho gusto de mi corazón que ahora tenemos mucha raza, muchos latinos en la policía de Richfield, y nos da un orgullo de tenerlos y yo sé que esta comunidad los necesita y la familia de ustedes que están apoyando a ellos se necesita mucho porque es un trabajo que no es fácil y tienen que tener mucho apoyo en la casa y tienen también que saber que nosotros aquí en el municipal siempre nos estamos agradecidos que ustedes están sirviendo al público y los residentes de Richfield. I just want to say thank you to all of the family members that are here and want you to know that we appreciate the fact that we have a diversified police department. I think Chief Henthorn has done a terrific job, and he's been a great leader in also mentoring a lot of these young officers that come on board. And the fact that, we're very proud of them. We're very proud of these young officers, and we appreciate that they're here. We need them, and we look forward to working with them, and we ask the family members to please continue to support their young officers because, they really contribute so much to our community and the safety and well-being of our community. Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Comments from other council members?
I just want to say welcome to both of you, and just specifically I want to call out Christian Schultz, who I waved down on a cold winter, one of those 20, 30 below winter days, and we had a wellness check on one of our residents. Somebody had called, they worried that they couldn't get in or out, and he didn't know who I was. I was just some guy, waving him down. I said, well, why don't we go do this together? And you guys do tough and hard and complicated things, and we're grateful for it. But you also do small things with a joy and a spark. And there was such a genuine joy. It's like, do you want to go help a citizen and a resident? And there was just a strong, yes, absolutely, let's go do that this morning. And that's so important. And so I'm recognizing you, but I'm recognizing so many of our officers that express that often. And I want to say thank you for the big and the tough and the heavy things you do, but for the small things that you do with joy and character, we're just really grateful.
Thank you.
I would also like to say welcome and thank you for coming to Richfield and serving our community. And thank you to the families also for raising amazing kids and for providing the support every day. They go out and not know what type of dangers they may face in protecting, and that's a big deal. And we know that it's a big deal for the officers and for the family members as well. So thank you to the officers, thank you to the family. We greatly appreciate it. And I also had the pleasure of getting to know Officer Schultz as well. We had a ride along together, and it was really great. Officer Schultz was absolutely down to earth, very kind, very friendly with myself, and just the way that he worked with our residents, partnered with other police officers, with our fire as well. It was really fun for me, and it was a great opportunity, and I'm really excited to have you in our office, and I look forward to getting to know all of the other new officers as well, and our existing officers. And it's great to see for these events and for Pastor Bryce and for this swearing in, to see our police officers here, to see our firefighters here, supporting our leaders, supporting our new officers, and building that sense of community. So thank you to everybody that's here as well. We are very excited to have you, and thank you, Chief, for your leadership. I just think we're on a great path to really building strong ties and relationships with our community and our police and our fire, and across the board in the city, and that's very exciting to me. Thank you. Any other comments? Great. Thank you very much. The next item we have is Hats Off to Hometown Hits, and we will pass it on to Councilmember Garcia.
Thank you. People are leaving, and just want to give them a little time. Well, we had the sad news to know that Jared Boto was going to leave our good city. And, you know, it is a sad time because, you know, we've gotten to know him, and depended on his service, which is always A1. So thank you for that. And then the bad news, why don't you come up here, Jared? Because that was the good news. Now I have to tell you that I got to take that good news back and let you know that we met with Katie Rodriguez, the city manager, and we asked her to tear up your letter of resignation. So no, but anyway, Jared, I think I've got to know him pretty well when we had our previous city manager, Steve Devich. Jared, he's really, really a nice professional administrator. But it got to the point where you used to call me and say, you know, I hate to complain, but Steve Devich is taking a nap and he really snores and I just distracting and I can't get my work done. And so I came to his rescue many times. And now, you know, with Katie on board, did I tell him what you told me about her? Well, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. He said, you know, I really like Katie. She's really fun and all of that, and she's a hard worker, and I look up to her. But the thing is that when she watches The Bold and the Beautiful, she turns the TV set way high. So naturally, she got caught. I'm sorry, Katie, but you got called on the carpet for that. But let me tell you the first responsibility that Jared had when he first, and you came from Public Works, right? Jared came from Public Works, and when he got here, Steve Devich said to Jared, you know, the flagpole needs to be painted, so here's some paint, and there's a ladder out there, so would you run up there and take care of it, because we're going to have important people here tomorrow. So Jared started painting the flagpole, and then as he got a little higher, he was running out of paint. So he came down and was going to go for more paint, but we said, no, Steve is so cheap, he won't buy more paint. So he put some thinner in the paint and went up and mixed it up, went up there and painted a little bit more, and almost got there, but he needed, so he came back down, got a little bit more paint thinner, and he mixed it up and went up there and finally finished it. Looked beautiful. So he looks up to admire his work, and from above he hears this voice that said, Jared, repaint, and thin no more. So he repainted, and he thinned no more. So I'm sorry, that's the best I can do on a short notice. Now, city council and Katie, we decided we would have a theme for Jared. And we're thinking, well, he's going to leave our job here and go to Washington County. So by rights, he needs to be prepared. Like, you know, a responsible administrator should be prepared. So I gave them each a task, and the one thing, you know, I said to Katie, I said, I wonder if he's got a nice briefcase so he can put his documentation and all of this stuff, and she said, oh, I'll get that. She said, don't worry about it. So this is what Katie got you. A nice little backpack, and it says Lego right here, but it's very attractive, and I'm sure you'll find good use for it. So, perfect, he says. And then, you know, I was thinking, well, what about Mary? What is she going to get him? And Mary, you know, being a school teacher, and her husband makes her lunch every morning before she goes to school. So she had something at home. Here's a stack of paper bags for you to take your lunch. Oh, thank you for that, Mary. Very appropriate. Then we had Simon, who tends to be on the nerdy side, but, you know, not that we mind, you know. We have a dictionary and we keep it handy. But anyway, here's a nice calendar. And this calendar says it's full of fun, hand-lettered, because I don't think that Jared knows how to print or write in cursive, because he uses, you know, his computer and his iPad and for everything else. So anyway, so it says reminder, pick me up notes, love notes, and coupons. You know, it's to help you stay motivated, and it's a 17-month calendar, and so this is from Councilmember Simon Troutman. No, the mayor, who's always pretty classy, you know, I'll give her that. She's pretty classy. She thought he should have something of inspiration, something nice, you know, to have over his desk. All of the stuff's for the office, you know. Can't take it home. So she got him this nice little bird. You see that? Isn't that nice? Anyway, this is, yeah, and made out of glass too. So it's very, very dainty.
Oh my gosh.
And then Councilmember Ben Whalen, he thought, you know, he's kind of a formal guy too. You notice he wears a tie and a suit all the time. And not that I'm critical, but anyway, so he thought he would purchase a nice little desk set of notes, and so that there would be informal and formal notes, so that you can certainly jot things down and, you know, maybe give people a thank you note or whatever. You know, it's really nice. Now, naturally you want to know what I got him. Well, I think I got him the best present. Okay, did you put the camera on this? Now see how nice this is? It's got all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drawers. You said, so it is colorful. See how colorful it is? And it's heavy. And you open up a drawer. Oops, wrong drawer. Wait a minute, do I have this on backwards? Okay, so you open up a drawer and you look inside, and look at that. Like a little red carpeting in there. Isn't that nice? This was really specially made for you. It was really well done, and it, like I said, it's heavy. So, yes, I know. It just, you know, so. Then I asked, you know, the staff people who work around him, you know, Pam and Jeannie and Logan. Is it Logan? Yeah, and I asked them, I said, why don't you get him just a fun gift? Something he'll really, really enjoy. So they got him this little stuffed animal. Isn't he cute? He doesn't have a name, so you get to name him whatever you want. So anyway, we want you to know that we're going to miss you, and we wish you well, and we appreciate everything you've done for us, and we appreciate, you know, you've always had a good heart, and you've always had a great smile on your face, and you've always been eager to, to do the best that you can. And that comes probably from your mom and dad, raising you. In fact, when he told his mom and dad that he was leaving Richfield, they said, "Oh, Jared, we didn't, I didn't think you could hold on to a job." But then he said, "No, but I do have a better job." So anyway, so we want you to know that we appreciate you and we wish you well and we thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Garcia. I don't know if anyone has had the pleasure of being a part of this in the past, but when city staff leave, Councilmember Garcia likes to do skits and make sure that there's one last opportunity for embarrassment before they leave the city of Richfield. But in all honesty and seriousness, Jared, we will absolutely miss you. So Jared was the executive analyst in our executive office, and as Councilmember Garcia said, was with us for 4.5 years. Did you want to say something?
No, I was going to say, Mayor, we're exchange. If you could come up here. And,
oh, okay.
And Jared, can you come back here again? Thank you.
And Jared was with us, with the city of Richfield, for 4.5 years. And from the time that I was here, it was an absolute pleasure to be working with Jared. You have always been very down to earth, very professional, a lot of integrity, and has done so much to keep the council on track, well informed with all the information that we need for our council meetings, our study sessions, our strategic planning sessions. And, you helped with the day-to-day, but you also really did so much work as it related to our city's equity work and really helping move that forward. Our work around community engagement and preparing for our census. So there was a lot of long-term visioning and strategic planning work that you also did. And I think your leadership really helped us move in that direction of engagement and equity and having that focus, and you really helped make that happen. So the council members and City Manager Rodriguez got you a little gift card for the new community you will be working in. Jared is going to be moving to Washington County, and it's really going to be a lot closer to his home, where he's going to be able to have more time with his family, and will be in a planning position, correct? At the county. So we got you a gift certificate for a restaurant so that you could explore the area and maybe take your wife out on a date or take your family out for breakfast or brunch. But we really have appreciated you here at the city, and we will greatly miss you. So thank you very much, Jared. Thanks.
And remember to paint to be careful that you don't, you understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
Any comments from other council members?
Repaint, and then no more.
Anyone else? Councilmember Whalen.
Yeah, just thank you so much. I mean, I've only been working with you for like 3 months, but it's everything you've done has been very very precise, no details missed, just super on top of things. And it's been a pleasure to work with you, and I am jealous of the people you're going to go work with, but know you'll do good things there too. So thank you so much.
Councilmember Supple.
Just to echo that, thank you very much and best wishes on your new adventures.
Thank you. Anyone else? Great.
You deserve every success, friend. It's good to know you. I hope you stay in touch. Yeah, we're sad to see you go, but we're really happy for the opportunities that you have.
And do you want to say anything or no? We won't make you. Okay. Thank you so much, Jared. Thank you.
Pulling a Pastor Bryce on us.
Councilmember Garcia, would you like to finish?
Well, I just want to,
hats off.
Being that we're on hats off, I do want to give a lot of thank yous to to the band shell task force that put together and did the work and did the labor and did everything they could to make the Richfield band shell successful. I mean, it was I think the weather was perfect because it was just a tiny bit cool, but it was perfect otherwise, and no rain. And we had the dedication of the stage to Patty Peterson's family, and it was just wonderful. I mean, it's a great family, and they're the first family of Richfield in Minnesota. So we're very, very proud of them. We also had the dedication of the garden that Bachman put in, and it was a dedication to Gertrude Ulrich. And I want to make sure that, last time when I talked about Gertrude, the one thing I failed to mention is that she was a city council member. And she was also a member of the Metropolitan Council, having been appointed by Governor Rudy Perpich for 2 terms. So, but that was such a great, I mean, here's Joel Speakman on there. And, the 2 band directors, orchestra directors, did such a wonderful and beautiful job. And the singer, I don't remember her last name, Jeannie, at the end of the program, she just really sung from the bottom of her heart. I felt very patriotic on Sunday. We had over 250 people that attended, and I want to thank the chair, Rick Chabs. I don't see his, but Rick Chabs is the chair of the task force. He did a super job in keeping everything going and keeping us, well, we didn't need anybody to motivate us because we really believed in this project with a passion, because we knew that this was going to be another big plus for our community. And we thank David Butler, who was instrumental in making sure that this band shell was built. I mean, he had a vision, and he loves music. He plays in both orchestras, and he gave his all when it came down to raising money and to doing the legwork and all the beautiful things that came together, and but we couldn't do any of this stuff. We worked really hard, but thank goodness that we had somebody like Amy Markle to put it together, to making sure that all the puzzle fit well, and that it was a smooth transition, from an actual dream that came true. And she was very helpful. I mean, I don't think you could ask for anybody that was more of a contributor, more of someone that was just there to make sure that things happened the way they were supposed to happen, that people got what they needed, and that the just the whole setting was warm, friendly, beautiful. And I thank you, Amy, very much for all you did, and we appreciate you very much, because anytime, the one thing that's really beautiful about this particular band shell is that it was a community effort. It really was a community effort. And I want to thank Marty Kirsch, too. Marty was very much of a contributor from day one, and he was very generous in his support. So all of the people that put this together and raised money and really promoted this, believe me, the 4th of July, we're gonna see beautiful things happen there, and other subsequent events, whether they're from the school or the churches or just the community. we're going to see a lot of things done. And that was the task force, and I really appreciated being part of it. It was almost a goner, and then we resurrected it with a task force. So there's always an alternative somewhere, but I just wanted to thank all of the council members that were there and that were really got to be as passionate as we were and about this band shell. And trust me, it's going to be such a beautiful, beautiful asset. It's in our flagship park, and it's where things are going to be happening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Garcia. Councilmember Troutman?
Quick hats off to we talked a lot about our firefighters and our police, and today they had a police and fire safety camp for our kids. And today was also the first day for our Richfield City Parks program for our kids. And Amy Markle's here, and we have our Parks and Rec staff here. So for our children, it's an opportunity for them to play and get to know their neighbors and be engaged throughout the summer and not be on screens, but out in the world. And I just want to take my hats off to our city for really being an amazing place for children. So hats off to everybody for making it that kind of city.
Thank you. Councilmember Supple?
Thank you. I'm the liaison to the Arts Commission, and the other evening we had a very special event. Augsburg Library always has a teen art show, and the Arts Commission selects the teen winner for that. And so we were able to honor Rowan Popiel as the Teen Art Fair Richfield Arts Commission winner. And he's a member of Richfield High School, and he came with his family members and also his middle school and his high school art teachers. And he showed us his wonderful charcoal drawing that he had done. And so I just wanted to do a shout out to Rowan. I also want to encourage people, if you're an artist in the community, there's a place that you can display things here at the Municipal Center, and there's also an opportunity to do art shows at the Community Center, and you just need to contact Mary Kay Champa, and she will set that up for you. So we're always looking for the talent that we would like to display. In addition, speaking of other talented youth, I'm also liaison for the Transportation Commission, and we were saying goodbye to our youth representative that had been there for 4 years. And he had volunteered his time, and he's now going off to college and is going to be majoring in civil engineering. And I think that perhaps being part of that commission may have help him figure out his career. So if you are interested in being on youth commission, a youth representative to any of our commissions, please watch for all those announcements as well. Finally, yesterday we had a joint meeting with the school board, and we talked about ways that the schools and the communities can work together. So I'm going to put in a plug for the Richfield Public Schools community education programs, and they have things going on. For instance, like the Starlight at Valley Fair or roller skating at Skatesville that you can sign up for, as well as the Richfield Parks and Recreation programs that are starting and that you can sign up. We have free playgrounds activities available at Augsburg, Jefferson, and Madison parks. There's the free summer meal program for ages 18 and under at the Community Center, Jefferson Park, and Washington Park. And for all ages, there's free yoga in the park. So look for those things through the Park and Recreation Department. Thank you.
Councilmember Whalen?
Just really quickly, I was also going to lift up the joint meeting with the school board. I thought that went really well. I'm excited about the collaboration that's been starting and has been going on for a long time, and the new ideas we have there. I've also gotten a chance to start meeting one-on-one with some of the school board members, and just I'm really impressed with the leadership that we have on our school board, and so that's been really exciting. I'm happy to be working with them, and then also just a shout out to our commissions. We're each a liaison to a few, and so I've been trying to meet with the folks who are on there, and again, just really impressed with the leadership we have here in town. and just this opportunity for folks to get involved, and certainly would encourage any and everyone who's interested in that to think about joining in the future.
Thank you, council member. I was just going to echo how great the bandshell event was. It felt like the clouds parted and the sunshine came in, the sky turned blue. It was very beautiful, and I'm personally excited to see how the bandshell will be bringing people out of their homes into the community, getting to know one another, and building that sense of community in person. So that was such an honor to be a part of. And also had a great time at the joint council school board session, which included a lot of updates from staff, from our city staff and the school board and the school staff on initiatives that we're already doing collaboratively and looking at ways of how to partner. And lastly, there's so many things going on across the city and across the community. So go to our website. There's a calendar. There's a bunch of news updates. There's all kinds of information, free, fun, accessible activities for all ages at all times of the week throughout the whole summer. So I just want to make sure there's plenty of things to do here in Richfield for families this summer.
You know, Mayor, I forgot to mention Neil, who is just, you know, he's a, what's your title, Neil? Okay, what was it again?
So a promotion, so our media coordinator got a promotion to Communications and Engagement Manager recently. So congratulations, Neil.
Right, and those pictures are courtesy of Neil, and also he does the podcast, he does, well, you name it. I mean, you know, he's really, in terms of communication, and he's developed also a new program that we're going to be unveiling shortly. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's what this community is about, the residents and the staff, and we all work together and make things happen.
Thank you, council member. The next item on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The agenda has been approved. The next item is the consent calendar and goes to City Manager Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mayor. The consent calendar contains several separate items which are acted upon by the City Council in one motion. Once the consent calendar has been approved, the individual items and recommended actions have also been approved. No further council action on these items is necessary. Item A is consider approval of a community celebration event license with a request for a fee to be waived and temporary on-sale intoxicating liquor license for the 4th of July committee for events scheduled at Veterans Memorial Park, July 3rd and 4th, 2019. Item B, consider approval of a temporary on-sale intoxicating liquor license for activities scheduled to take place July 4th, 2019 for the Minneapolis Richfield American Legion Post number 435 located at 6501 Portland Avenue South. Item C, consider adoption of a resolution amending a final development plan and adoption of a resolution granting a subdivision waiver for property at 6540 Penn Avenue. Item D, consider adoption of a resolution granting a conditional use permit to allow a restaurant at 7120 Chicago Avenue. Item E, consider adoption of a resolution granting a conditional use permit to allow a school at 7132 Portland Avenue. I submit these items for your consideration as part of the consent calendar.
Mayor, I move the consent calendar.
Second.
Any council questions or discussion? All in favor?
There's a question.
Sorry about that.
I just, I wanted to say I'm super excited. It doesn't say it in here, but the restaurant at 7120 Chicago is Reggae Foods, a Jamaican restaurant in town, something that we don't have yet. So I'm quite excited for that and looking forward to when it opens.
Great. Thank you, council member. Other questions, discussion?
It's not a motion, but I'd like to second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
The consent calendar has been approved. The next item goes to council member Troutman.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a public hearing and the consideration, the adoption of resolutions removing utility easements within the Novo development site at approximately 66th Street West and Queen Avenue, and approving a preliminary plat of the Novo addition that will combine 8 parcels and vacated right-of-ways into a single lot in order to allow the construction of a previously approved housing development. The summary is the development plans for the Novo Apartments at 66th Street and Queen Avenue were approved by the City Council on December 11, 2018. The development site consists of 8 parcels of land and adjacent right-of-way. The approval of a preliminary plat to combine those properties into a single lot is required prior to the issuance of building permits. A final plat is required prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy. The proposed plat of the Novo has been reviewed by the city's attorney's office, the Richfield Public Works, and Hennepin County. Prior to consideration of a final plat application, the applicant will be required to satisfactorily address all comments. No major issues are anticipated. Additionally, there are various utility easements throughout the site. These easement areas currently contain both underground and overhead facilities that will be relocated at the developer's expense and or placed within new easement areas that will be dedicated in the final plat of Novo. Upon recording that final plat, there will no longer be a need for the existing easements. So we're here to conduct a public hearing. This is a public hearing. Are there any comments?
Hello, Commission, again. If you didn't want to hear from me, you should stop sending me postcards. And I'm here.
Could you just share
Oh, yeah.
your name and then write your name and your address? And welcome back.
Okay, just a few housekeeping things that I wrote down. First off, I'd address you individually, but you don't have your nameplates out today, which is
okay.
And then also, I noticed I was going to give this, but I filled it out, and then I didn't know what to do with it because there weren't instructions out on the table. So, just throwing that out there. I'm going to start my timer. Oh, turned off my cell phone. Never mind. And then also, I'd also like to say, I didn't realize we had elected a bunch of serious comedians to our city council. This was the best meeting I've ever had, best interaction I've ever had with city or higher government yet in my life. Everything's been so funny tonight. But when it comes to the Novo apartment, I'm really glad that it's being built and that it's going to be huge. It sounds like it's going to be very nice. The only issue I have is that, well, it's, like I've said before, it's being built right across the property line from me and my 30 neighbors at Fraser Sheridan Court on 2500 66th Avenue. And so I just want to reiterate what I said last time at the Planning Commission meeting, that that the City Council and the city in general considers using my apartment as a pilot project / guinea pig for how to go about building across property lines from buildings that are set apart for specific demographics, specific populations, such as, in my case, disability housing or affordable housing or senior care. And that meaning, the idea that I have is that requiring the developer to come onto the property itself and keep the residents updated as far as what's going on next door, and also giving them a chance to ask any questions they may have, because like I stated previously, it's very easy for me to come here and address you, but and if it was easy for my neighbors, they would be here with me. And so I thank you all for your work so far in trying to keep us updated, but I have to let you in on the reality of the situation that I face. And the reality of the situation that I face is that another reason why I'm here and maybe some of my neighbors aren't is because I know what this means. I know what this means. I don't think very many of my neighbors know what this means or what to do with this information. And there's nobody explaining it to them that I'm aware of. And on top of that, I have to share the sad news with everyone that, to my knowledge, I've heard from several people that at the city and from Todd, the person who's here for the development of the Novo building, that they have done their best to talk to people who are in charge of Fraser and in charge of my apartment building. But the sad news I am here to share tonight is that everything I hear from people in this room tonight and at the Planning Commission meeting, every time I come, it's all new information to me. And so that's the crux of the problem, and the disconnect is that nobody from Fraser tells me or my neighbors anything. Nothing gets filtered down from the top to us. And there's an organization out there called ASAN, Autism Self-Advocacy Network, and their catchphrase is nothing about us without us. And if Fraser wanted to go for something similar, it would be everything about us without us. They never ask us for our input, and they certainly don't ever tell us anything that's going on. And that's what I'm here to share, is that I want to be the point person so that that people can truly know what's going on in my apartment building, and not just what people in charge of Fraser say is going on, but being the person on the ground. And I did say it at one point, but part of being autistic is speaking directly and literally, and I realize that's not how my words are taken every time. But I did say at one point that I'd be willing to give a tour to anybody, Planning Commission, Todd, anybody from Novo, anybody from the City Council, of my building and my personal apartment at Sheridan Court, and that's the truth. I have no problem giving a tour and showing anybody what our building is like and what it's like to live there. It's a great place to live, and being autistic, trans feminine, Jewish, living with severe anxiety and depression, being left-handed and a cat lady, it's very important for me to live somewhere safe. And really, this is my only complaint about where I live, is just that when it comes to what I feel to be very important information for me and my neighbors to know, or that they that if we have any questions, we're not sure to ask or get pushback when we do ask questions. And so I know I'm asking for people to go way above and beyond what they're already doing, but I just wanted to share that reality that Novo's doing everything right and you guys are doing everything right. It's Fraser that's not doing something right. And I've talked to friends, and I'm pretty sure that when they see this and what I'm saying right now, they're not going to be completely happy with what I'm sharing right now because they're afraid that I'm putting my housing at risk by stating simply the true facts and the true reality of what it is I'm facing. And so, but that's from the bottom of my heart and from on the ground what it is I'm up against. I'm up against.
I want to. We're a little over the time, but I want to give you a chance to close.
Yep. Oh, sorry. Yeah, like I said, my cell phone. But yeah, so if you have any questions for me at any time, feel free to contact me or ask me now. I'll answer anything.
Well, this is a public hearing, so this is a forum for folks that are concerned to share those concerns, and we appreciate it when you share those concerns the first time, and appreciate you just the spirit in which you're coming, to just raise these concerns. Where you said it's Fraser that you have the concerns with. I don't know that Fraser is here tonight, but you have connected with Todd, and I would maybe. And I don't know what the best solution is, but if there's a way that you guys can connect and maybe connect directly in a way that that would maybe give you more direct communication than you can share with your neighbors, would that be something that that you could via email or something like that? Yeah.
No, to tell you the honest truth, once again, the reason I'm here is to make my statements so that they're on the public record. That's really why I'm here.
Well, thank you for that.
Thank you, Lucy.
All right, so are there any more public comments? All right, are there any more public comments? Staff?
Oh, we can close the public hearing
all right.
if there's no more if there's no more folks. So is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The public hearing has been closed. Great.
Very good. Now, can we move to adopt the, so public hearing being conducted and closed, I would move that we adopt a resolution vacating utility easements within Novo Development site at 66th Street West and Queen Avenue, and second to adopt, can we do those together? And second to adopt a resolution for preliminary plat of the Novo addition.
Second.
And if we could go back to staff and just get, is there any questions from council members or for staff before we take the vote? Yes.
I just wanted to thank staff because I had questions I submitted earlier because I was confused about Russell Avenue and was told that it will now be extended to connect all the way to 66th because I didn't know what was happening with the cul-de-sac. So we're vacating those easements, but there will be an extension of Russell Avenue to 66th, and that helped clarify the whole thing for me.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from council members? I just have one question, and I had asked this before. It's not specifically about this this vote in terms of the resolution for the preliminary plat of the addition, but I think I just want to take the chance to reiterate the importance, specifically with the developer, the importance of working and communicating with the residents throughout this whole process, the homeowners that are adjacent, as well as the renters and the folks at Sheridan Courts. And my understanding is that as a city, we don't have kind of purview of that type of communication. Is that correct?
That's correct. We don't have anything in the ordinance that requires that. However, we always recommend that the developers continue to do that. And we've been in contact with this developer a number of times. They've always seemed open to doing that. It's my understanding that they will. They are here tonight if you'd like to hear from them directly.
Great. So yeah, come on up. But that was just a point that I wanted to reiterate. As we know in Richfield developments, we don't have areas of development where commercial's way in one end of the city and residential is in another, and they're completely separate. They are coexisting in the same space. So anytime we have a new redevelopment, it is, it's difficult for the residents that are adjacent. There's a lot of disruption for our residents, and having that clear, consistent communication is really important, and making sure that the people who are on the development and the developers end who are interfacing with the residents are good people, good with people, good people, people person, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. You know, making sure that that is a person in that position that really, you know, can be listen to residents and can be in good communication with folks that are going through that type of transition, which is very stressful. So thank you for coming and speaking.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Commissioners. I'm Todd Olin with Bogart and Peterson here on behalf of Broadway Investors LLC. I think the unique circumstance here is, first of all, we are committed to communicating with the neighbors in the area. We have been and are going to continue being committed to sharing information, what to expect next type things, because like you said, there's, you know, we're all this community. And Novo is going to become a part of that community. And one of the things that's unique to this process is that we went through the planning and zoning issues late last year, and then it kind of went into a lull. There was a separation in time between that, and obviously the applications come through with a preliminary plat. And sometimes the message is there is nothing new to report, but we didn't report that, and that's really what we should have reported, that, you know, it's still going forward. There's land acquisition, and there's people living in those homes right now, so, you know, they were selling their homes and moving on, and it just takes time. So there was not much of a report to give, but we should have given it in that lull. So at the Planning Commission meeting, I actually took that responsibility and said, you know, probably, you know, with Lucy and others in the area, that I could have reached out and not that we're hiding information, it's just there was a lull in the action, so to speak, and we probably just should have reported that. So through the process with the way that we've seen the success as well is, you know, staying in communication with the neighbors. My face may go eventually, but there's going to be a builder out there that's going to be there every day and available. So, you know, the process will continue, and we are committed to the communication and information changing hands and getting to everybody.
Thank you for speaking.
Thank you.
Thanks. Councilmember Whalen.
I was going to ask a question while you're up there. I thank you for the process you've already done. I had a chance to talk to one of the Planning Commission members who happens to be an immediate neighbor who was there for some of the meetings and felt that was a very helpful process, that responded to a lot of resident concerns. I am curious though, since this question that Lucy's brought forward now multiple times, you've been sitting with it at least for the couple weeks since the Planning Commission, if not since earlier. Do you or others from the developer have plans to go host a meeting at Sheridan Court, or to have some more direct conversations or communication with residents there?
Maybe not directly at Sheridan Court, but we want to hold another community meeting once we, you know, get closer to a groundbreaking, knowing what's going to happen, dates, times, and be able to share what to expect. You know, what's going to be first, what's going to come after that. And then after that, we'll hold, you know, periodic meetings to, you know, as things change and whatnot, to let them know prior to them actually happening. So.
Okay. I think I don't know all of the circumstances of the residents there, but I think given that it is a housing for people with disabilities that may have greater challenges to be able to attend such a meeting as that, I think taking into that into consideration would be greatly appreciated.
And we're aware of that, and we'll make every provision we can to get that information into Fraser. Yeah.
Okay. Just, I mean, to clarify, it sounds like getting it to Fraser is not the helpful piece.
Well, no, we're not. Again, we're not avoiding it. We're just, you know, we'll schedule through. And Lucy actually offered to be the point person, so we can communicate through her and make that happen. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Other comments? No, you don't have one.
Nope.
And then I just wanted to go back to staff. I know Councilmember Troutman read the executive summary, but if you could just give a brief description of what tonight is about with this motion, and then just give a little bit of what's to come in the process for residents. I think that would be helpful.
Sure, thank you. The project was approved, the actual land use approvals approving the building of the apartment project were approved last fall. These items that are coming before you now are, in terms of city approvals at least, sort of housekeeping items. Their approvals were contingent on them going through this process, acquiring, not just with the purchase agreements, but actually acquiring the property, combining all of these parcels into a single property, making sure that the legal description meets the county's requirements, that the access meets the county's requirements, these sorts of things. So that's what we're doing tonight. We're combining the 7 single-family and 2-family home properties and a small piece of the CVS lot. We're combining those into a single parcel. We're also vacating some easements. Right now, those single-family homes are served by overhead utility lines that run on their rear property lines. This project won't need those. All new power lines will be put underground as part of the new project, and new easements will be dedicated where those lines are placed. So that's what you're doing tonight. You're combining the parcels and vacating those easements.
And then can you talk about kind of what's next in the process after this?
Sure. After this, the developer will continue to close. I believe they closed on all but one property and the CVS parcel. So they'll continue to close on those. Once they've done that, they'll come into the city for their building permits, building and demolition permits. They would have, I don't have estimates on a time frame for that. We've, again, recommended that they come to the neighborhood and talk to the neighborhood with timing, let you know when demolition's going to happen, what you can expect through that process. But I don't have that timing right now.
Thank you very much. Any remaining comments? There's been a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the resolution for our preliminary plat of the Novo addition has been approved. Thank you very much. Okay. The next item is consideration of the approval for the implementation of a citywide organization of curbside recycling and organics hauling and funding of a sustainability coordinator through a combination of recycling score funds through Hennepin County and existing city funds. In 2018, the City Council created a Richfield Organics Task Force to advise the council on matters related to establishing a community-wide organics collection in the city. City staff in the task force studied other cities that have successfully launched similar efforts, explored the various issues surrounding recycling and organics hauling, and launched a highly popular organics drop-off program. At a City Council work session on May 28, 2019, City staff and members of the task force presented information on the task force's work and recommendations related to recycling and organics in the city. One recommendation of the task force is to pursue organized curbside organics recycling and single-sort recycling for residents in the city. Staff is requesting approval to initiate this recommendation through a request for proposals process with haulers. Staff will issue an RFP to obtain cost information on both subscription or mandatory participation-based systems and bring a recommendation back to the City Council after evaluating the proposals. Additionally, staff is requesting approval to fund a sustainability coordinator. This position is important to move forward efforts through education, awareness, and outreach, and will also allow for the continued success of our partnership with the Green Step City program and the exploration of potential sustainability committee or commission. So we have Parks Director Markle here, and I'm wondering if you can and Rachel also, who's been working on this, who's our Green Corps member with the city and who has been doing a great job on this project. And I'm wondering if you can just talk a little bit about, there's there's language here, but it'd be great to hear from you about why we're doing this and some of the historical context as to why we're looking at organics recycling.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. There is a county mandate in the coming year that will require that all residents have the opportunity to have curbside organics. And so to fulfill that mandate, we have choices as a city. We can leave it up to the hauler to offer it to residents, or we can organize it, and all the data shows that if you organize it, you will get a much better rate for residents, and you'll also see an increase in participation and that behavioral change.
Thank you. And could you also explain a little bit, when you shared at our study session, Richfield's kind of participation and outputs in terms of recycling, and where we rank and kind of where we are in relation to recycling in general amongst the other metro cities. I thought that was, it just brought light to why this work is really important.
Yes. So in Hennepin County, there's 42 municipalities, and we're ranked 39 out of 42 with rates of recycling. So the data showing, we have a lot of room for improvement. We think that this initiative will kind of help advance us and improve that behavior in recycling.
Thank you. And then could you just talk a little bit about the success? So it was mentioned in the executive summary that we've had a successful organics drop-off program, but can you talk a little more about what that looks like?
Yeah, so we have over 750 households currently signed up for the drop-off program. So we have 2 drop-off sites. One has been at Hope Church, which has worked out wonderfully. They have a loaves and fishes program that generates some food, and so it's been really easy for them to utilize it. It's centrally located. We also have another drop-off site at Woodlake Nature Center. So between the 2 sites, many families have signed up. We've really had a lot of success, a lot of positive feedback from residents about having this service.
Thank you. And I have one more question. Mm-hmm. Can you just explain, so we talked about organized recycling. Could you again just clarify, how many cities in the county have organized recycling? And then just share the difference between, when people hear organized around this issue, they might think about organized hauling. And what is the difference between organized hauling and organized recycling? And just clarify that for folks as well.
So in Hennepin County, there's 2 cities that don't have organized recycling. And historically, recycling took off in the 1980s, and a lot of municipalities organized it in the beginning. Richfield did not. So through this initiative, we'd be able to organize our recycling. Residents would get a better rate. Eden Prairie is the other city that doesn't have organized recycling, but they are probably in the top, I think, 7 or 8 cities with rates of recycling within the county. This initiative does not include, I think it's really important that residents know, does not include trash hauling or organized trash. So residents will still maintain their hauler and have choice to maintain the hauler of their choice as far as trash removal goes.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from council members? Councilmember Supple.
There was one thing that when we had the study session for this that really struck me that I think we need to say loud and clear. 32% of the trash that's produced is organics.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
almost a third is something that can go, into organics and stay out of the landfill. And as our population increases and density increases, I think exploring these options, how to keep waste that could be, turned into organics, is going to be really important to become more sustainable. And the county has quite a few initiatives to decrease the amount of waste going to landfills in the coming decade. And it's an opportunity for us to help contribute to that goal.
Any other comments? Councilmember Whalen.
I was also just going to comment on the fact that this issue, or part of this, is something that I hear from residents all the time, specifically the number of garbage and recycling trucks that we have on our streets, the pollution that adds to the fact that that wears on our roads. And so I think this is a step in the right direction on that account. I think keeping I was going to mention that 32% factor too. Keeping that out of landfills prevents more methane from getting vented into the atmosphere. And so I think this just makes sense. And I'm so thankful for the huge depth of research that the Organics Task Force has done, that both of you on staff have worked toward. I think this is a huge step in the right direction, and I'm excited that we're doing it.
Thank you. Other comments or questions from council members? Councilmember Supple?
I just wanted to add to my comment earlier to just thank the task force, because I know you guys have been meeting diligently and doing a lot of research. So thank you all. And I know several of you are out in the audience right now.
I just wanted to say that I think we've arrived. I mean, it's been a lot of work, and Rachel, you know, you really have got a good reputation among a lot of our residents who really appreciate your work, and you're certainly appreciated. And Amy, I know that you know, this was handed down to you by Jim, but you have gone all out, and well, it's kind of in your blood, really. This is kind of what you do, who you are. So thank both of you for a terrific job.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Councilmember Troutman.
I just briefly say, yep, Rachel, thank you. I agree completely with what Edwina said, that you have a great reputation with a lot of folks, and your diligence and your passion speaks for itself. And for all our community members, this has really been a community-driven process. A lot of folks have engaged. A lot of this happened because folks in Richfield really wanted this to happen and work hard for it. So hats off. If we were doing hats off, I'd say hats off to them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Whalen?
I just realized the one thing we said at the work session, but probably worth repeating here for anyone who's listening and wondering, what does this look like? Could you just share some of what you shared at the work session about kind of how this shows up on their bill, that kind of the logistics of it?
So thank you. Excuse me. Thank you for the question, Councilmember Whalen. The specifics would be something that would be looked at through an RFP process. But as you were mentioning, charges could potentially show up on a utility bill. That's how recycling is billed in many other cities. And so it's just a charge that instead of paying haulers as residents do now, it would not be a hauler bill, it would be on their utility bill. So it would say, recycling or whatever the language would be, and the charge would be through there, and organics possibly as well. So again, this is in place of a hauler bill.
Thank you.
And I'd just like to say it's been a pleasure to serve on the task force as the council liaison, and I've really appreciated all the work that Rachel has done, and Amy, and our task force members who are volunteers from the community who are really experts in recycling and composting and sustainability issues, who have come together and spent hours over the past several months helping sort through all of this and looking at what the best option is for our city, our environment, but also being very conscious of, education and bringing the community along, as well as financial impact for our residents. And I do appreciate that the RFP process is going to have it open for multiple different options, whether it's opt-in for residents versus mandatory, to look at different cost impacts on residents, so to make sure that we're also keeping that front and center. And I'm excited to vote for this. As a city, we are way behind on recycling. We really are. I mean, we're one of 2 cities that doesn't organize, and we're towards the bottom of all of the cities in Hennepin County on our recycling rates. That's not something to be proud of. And let's see, what was the other? Oh yeah, those were the 2 main things. So this is going to be a way to look at that recycling, but also the recycling of our organic material as well, and do it in a way that works for our city. So thank you very much for your leadership in that, and to the task force members as well. Great. Is there a motion?
Okay, I will move that we approve the organization of curbside recycling and organics hauling and the funding of a sustainability coordinator position to advance the work of organized recycling and organics in the city of Richfield through education, awareness, and outreach efforts.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The motion has been approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is the city manager's report.
Sorry, some shuffling backstage. All I have, Mayor, is a heartfelt thank you to Jared. He has been a key leader on our team and will be very missed.
Thank you. And last item always goes to Councilmember Garcia.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I know this is one of the most important items in terms of staff and our debtors and everybody else who we have to work with. But I did want to also say to Jared, you know, put a smile on your face. You're going to be happy over there where you're at, and it's going to pay off with your family. And I know it's sad for us, and I know it's sad for you that you're leaving, but you know, we'll keep in touch, and we wish you the very best from the bottom of our hearts, and we thank you, and leave knowing that, you know, we're really proud of you.
Thank you.
Did I move claims and payroll? I'm
Did
sorry.
not.
Do it one last time for Jared.
I'll move claims and payroll.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Claims and payroll has been moved. And with no other business, this meeting is adjourned.